everyone that sent me messages and tips on my last video. I really appreciated it. So if you have more things to say, more tips, questions, concerns, feel free to send them my way again. I really appreciated it. This is my second video, and we're going to be talking about the topic of depression. And actually today is a good day to speak about this because it is Belle Let's Talk Day. Today is Wednesday, January 29th, and today is Belle Let's Talk Day, and I will explain a little bit more about the whole Belle Let's Talk initiative. So what Belle Let's Talk does, Belle is a company and they will donate 5 cents to mental health initiatives. You do a bunch of different things. I have a list, so that's why it looks like I'm reading, because I'm going to read you that entire list. So basically, they will donate 5 cents for every text message, mobile, and long distance call made by Belle, Bell Alliant, and Bell MTS wireless and phone customers. So that is one. And also, if you have Twitter, for every tweet or retweet using the hashtag BelleLet'sTalk, which includes a special emoji. Don't know why they decided to add that, but okay. And any Belle Let's Talk Day video that's on there as well, if you tweet or retweet that. For Facebook, if you have Facebook, every Belle Let's Talk video, every view. So they will donate 5 cents per view for that, so everyone go watch. And if you use the Belle Let's Talk frame, you know how you can change your profile picture and have that frame on it. There's a Belle Let's Talk one, so if you use that, they'll donate 5 cents for every person that does that. For Snapchat, everyone that uses the Belle Let's Talk filter and video view, they'll donate 5 cents to that as well. And for Instagram, every use of the Belle Let's Talk filter and video view as well, they'll donate 5 cents to that. And last but not least, every Belle Let's Talk Day video view on YouTube. So on YouTube, they have the Belle Let's Talk video as well. That's going around on Facebook as well. Every view that they get on YouTube for that, they'll donate 5 cents. So Belle Let's Talk is a great initiative. It happens every year in January, typically the end of January. The date for it typically changes every single year. So yeah, make sure you get involved with that because they do donate money to mental health initiatives across the world. So I think it is really important. We're going to talk about depression today, and I would like to say something really important. Depression does manifest in different ways. Typically, when people think about depression, they think, oh, you can't get out of bed, you can't eat, you're crying all the time, all that sort of stuff. But actually, depression manifests in so many different ways, and every individual is completely different. There are ways that it can manifest in a manic form. So if you're like a manic depressive, typically it's more angry outbursts, you're more irritable. Yeah, typically you act out quite a bit with that. You're not like in bed crying all day or anything like that. You're behaving very irrationally. You're screaming at people all the time. You just look extremely angry. So there is that way that it can manifest. You actually see a lot of people that have bipolar disorder be manic depressives, but you can still, your depression can still be manic even if it's just depression, and you don't have bipolar disorder. You don't have to have bipolar disorder to be manic. And the different way in which you see it is the way that most people think it is, that you can't get out of bed, you have trouble eating, you have trouble doing your basic day-to-day tasks, and you lose interest in things that you used to be interested in. So that's a different one. Depression can be called major depressive disorder or clinical depression. It can last anywhere from 2 weeks to longer. So if you're feeling blue, extremely blue, and you're having possibly suicidal thoughts, like it's, you know, you'll know the difference between sadness, being sad, and being depressed. And typically you can't really snap out of it if you're depressed, but if you're sad, you can usually do things to cheer you up. With depression, it's a lot harder. It's not as simple as like, oh, I'm going to go to the movie with my friend and I'll feel better. Typically that doesn't do it. Typically you need more help with depression because depression does have a long-lasting effect. What is depression? Depression is a mood disorder, and it's basically a persistent feeling of sadness and loss of interest in basically everything, mainly activities that you used to enjoy. So there are different symptoms for depression. Everyone is different. So you might not experience all these symptoms, you might only experience some, and some people might experience them at different intensities, different levels. Like I said, everyone is completely different, so if you feel things a certain way, it's normal. It is definitely normal. So I'm going to go through that list. I have a list here. I'm sorry. It's a long list. I can only memorize so much. All right. So it's feelings of sadness, emptiness, helplessness. Typically, if you have depression, you do experience some anxiety with that as well. Sleeping problems, like insomnia is a really big thing if you're depressed, or you sleep all day. It's kind of up and down with what happens. So thoughts of death or suicide, loss of interest or pleasure in normal activities, lack of energy. You literally just like feel the need to want to sleep all the time and not do anything because you can't. You feel you can't. Irritability, angry outbursts. That's more seen in manic depressive. But you can still have these things even if you're not manic. Then it's either reduced appetite or you have an increase in cravings. So that kind of depends on the individual, honestly, it really does. This next part is my personal experience. I do have some personal experience with depression. Lucky for me, depression runs in my family, so it is genetics. So one of us in this family was bound to struggle with it, and of course that was me. So when I was 16 years old, I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder. Obviously, looking at me now, it doesn't look like it, and I will tell you why. Once I had the diagnosis, I was put on fluoxetine for about a year, and I was in the outpatient program at Health Sciences Center, and I was going, I think, either once or twice a week for therapy there, and just to like check my weight, check on the meds. I was doing therapy and I was on medication at the same time, and I did that for a really long time. And even after they weaned me off of the medication, because it's not good to be on medication forever, I still did therapy on and off, and that is what got me to the point of where I am today. Basically, it got me here. I still do therapy currently for it, and I'm probably going to have to for the rest of my life, because there is no cure for depression just because I have it under control right now, and just because I haven't experienced any of those intense feelings in a long time doesn't mean that it's not going to come back. It unfortunately can. There is a lot of relapse involved. I have relapsed before, not recently, but I have, and it does happen with people that have it, because one day you can be fine and then the next day you can wake up and it's a whole different story. So it's definitely good to keep on doing therapy and try to keep yourself out of that situation. I'm not going to go into too much detail on my situation because there are things I'm still uncomfortable speaking about. I did self-harm when I was younger. I would say the last time I self-harmed was when I was 18, probably, and I'm 24 right now. So yeah, it's been about 6 years since I have self-harmed. So that is like a huge, huge thing, because I started self-harming in grade 9 when I was 15 years old. It's definitely good to get help if you're struggling with self-harm, because it is a really hard thing to stop. I found it very difficult to stop until I started doing therapy, and then it just all of a sudden stopped. It never became a thought again. My parents did tell me that they had a feeling that I was depressed for a really long time. When I was in elementary school, my parents told me I would come home every single day and go up to them and tell them that I feel weird, that I feel different, that something is wrong with me, and they didn't understand what was going on because I was a little kid. Could be saying random stuff, but after all of this happened when I was a teenager, they realized and they kind of put it together that that's what it was. A specific incident in grade 9 did trigger how bad it got, because I would say it wasn't really bad before that. I knew there was always something wrong with me, but in grade 9, I went through like my first real breakup, and that set it off. And that is when I kind of lost my mind a little bit. A lot. A lot. So that's why I was on the wait list for Health Sciences, and that's why I got accepted, because my situation was not good. Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to go into detail too much, but I was not manic depressive. I definitely probably sometimes had angry outbursts, and I was very irritable. I'm sure my family members can attest that sometimes that would happen, but overall, I wasn't a manic depressive. I actually couldn't leave my bed, ever. I was so depressed. I couldn't leave my bed. Showering, my mom had to help me shower sometimes. I physically couldn't, like, I didn't have the energy to stand in the shower to shower. Like, it was that bad. And then for eating, I couldn't eat. I'm going to give a quick shout out to my friend Nick. Nick was my best friend in high school, and he actually came over almost every single day and, like, fed me, like, force fed me, because I couldn't eat. I had no appetite. Thank you to him to this day for doing that. And also, shout out to Carter for being the reason of why I told my parents that I was depressed. He was the one that encouraged me to tell my parents, and ever since then I got into health sciences, and now I am here doing well. I never thought I would ever hit my 20s. Like, I didn't think I would be alive to be an adult. So it is definitely a weird thing thinking that you wouldn't be alive as an adult. And now I'm going to be doing a master's, and I have a good job, and I have a really good support system with friends and family, and things are coming together, and I'm actually building a life for myself, and I never thought I would ever be able to do that, because I didn't think I would be here. And because it's Bella Let's Talk Day, let's reduce the stigma, let's talk about things. I know that it's a hard thing to talk about. Like I said, I can't go into full detail because I find it hard talking about a lot of that stuff. I would say honestly, like, recovering from depression was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my entire life. Like, it took all of my energy, it took every bit of my focus. Like, it's so hard being in such a dark hole like that and digging yourself out of it. Like, if you haven't been in that situation, you can't even imagine it. But if you have, you know what I'm talking about. It is not an easy thing. It has never been an easy thing, and it's probably one of the hardest things you're ever going to do. And it's going to continue to be hard because you got to keep yourself well. Like, I'm in the situation now where I don't have to dig myself out of it because I am out of it, but I have to keep myself out of it. So I have to put all my energy into keeping myself out of it because it can easily come back. Please follow the list of the Bella Let's Talk stuff and do all of it, or most of it, or some of it, so Belle will donate money to mental health initiatives. If you want to donate yourself, go ahead and do it. Regardless, it's not just a one-day thing. Let's talk about mental health every single day. Let's reduce the stigma. Let's help our family and friends, even people we don't know that reach out to us. And also, if you need help in any sort of way, it is okay to get help. I promise you, you will not regret it. You will be so thankful you got your help. So tell somebody. I started it by telling two of my friends, and then they encouraged me to tell my mom, and then I told my mom, and then I got help from there. So by telling simply one person in your life, you can get help. Tell your parents, tell your best friend, tell your sibling, tell somebody, and get the help that you need, because it is not something to be embarrassed about. Honestly, the most mature thing you could do and the best thing you could do for yourself is seek help if you need it. And then you never know what kind of life you're going to have, because I didn't think I would be where I am today, and I'm extremely happy that I am where I am today, and I'm extremely proud of everything I've overcome to be here. So yeah, and if you want to talk to me about your experience, you can do that as well. That is the topic of depression. And I know I got a little bit of complaints that my volume wasn't the greatest. I am buying a microphone. I'm using my Mac, so the volume isn't the greatest. You're not crazy. I'm trying to speak a little bit louder in this video, so tell me how that is. But yeah, I'm going on a trip soon. I'm going to see if I can find a good microphone on my trip. But yeah, if you have any questions or concerns, let me know. I will see you next time. If there's something you'd like me to talk about next time, write down in the comments or message me. Okay, bye.